Okay, let's say you come across this new keyword in MATLAB and you don't know what it means, what it does. What you can do is you can type in help and then the keyword, let's say the keyword that you came across is numel, and hit enter, and you can see the documentation that MATLAB has for this keyword. So numel basically it's a number of elements in an array, and this is how you use it. So if you want to find out the number of elements in any array, maybe a column vector or a row vector or a matrix, you can basically type in numel and then the name for that vector. That's it. That's how you get it. Okay, let me show you how to make a vector. If you want to create a row vector, a row vector is basically a container that has values arranged in row fashion, similar to column vector, in which the container stores values basically in column fashion. Okay, so let's create a row vector. If you want to create a row vector, you basically need to put all these different values in different cells and they are next to each other. Let me show you what I mean. So hit enter and let's see, this is my row vector. You can see that all these values, they are in a single row but in different cells, you can see. Okay, let me create another vector. I'm gonna create a column vector. Let me show you how to do that. Well, in order to create a column vector, you need to separate the two values by semicolon. So if I separate 1 and 2 by semicolon, what MATLAB does, it will place the next value, which is 2 in this case, in the cell which is below the cell in which 1 is stored. So this is how we can make a column vector. You can also enter a space, it won't matter much. See, you can see that the values are stored in a column fashion. Okay, now let us find out what this element, this particular keyword gives us. When I use this keyword to A, it gives me 5, which is basically the length of my row vector A. You can see there are only 5 elements in row vector A. Similarly, we can try with the B. 5 as expected. Okay, if you want to delete any of these data, like you have A vector, you have B vector, you want to delete that, you can just write in clear and A, or also B if you want to delete both of them. But I'm not going to delete B, so let's just delete A. Oh, it's gone. Okay, fine. So this is how we create row vector, column vector. We can find in the number of elements in those vectors, and we can definitely clear those variables that we create. Now next, how do we create a matrix that has basically both rows and columns? Okay, so if you want to create a matrix, let's say A, it has to have many, you can see many rows and then many columns, right? So let me do that. 1, 4, 5. This will put all these numbers in cells that are next to each other, basically in a single row. So this is my first row, and the second row goes below that. This is my second row, 3, 5, and then 6. They're placed next to each other. You can see. Okay, the third row will have 8, 9, and 0. Hit enter. Boom, we have a matrix A. You can see that 1, 4, 6, they're placed next to each other, and then colon tells MATLAB to start with a new line with a new row. So 3, 5, 6, they are placed in next row, and then 8, 9, 0, they are placed in next row. Okay, great. So this is how we create a matrix.